Okay. Do I have a motion to go into executive session?
I make a motion that we go into executive session in accordance with Idaho Code Section 74-206. The board may elect to hold an executive session to consider evaluation, dismissal, discipline or to hear complaints or discharges brought against a public officer, employee, staff member, or individual agent or public school student.
Second.
I second.
All right. Any discussion? Kirsty?
Aye.
JD?
Aye.
Freddie?
Aye.
Hillary?
Aye.
Aye for me as well. Okay. We will be back.
just realized my Chromebook's at home.
This is the script. I might pass it to you. That's okay. All right, we will resume regular session. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Ready, begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. Before we vote to approve the agenda, there's a request to amend the agenda and add an action item to old business. Under update on sale of 4th Street Gym, trustees Grant and Lowe.
I move to amend the agenda to add an action item to old business under update on the sale of 4th Street Gym.
A second.
Okay, so motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Okay, we'll take a vote. All in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed? Okay, amendment passes. All right, so now we do need a motion to approve the agenda as amended.
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda as amended.
Okay. Any discussion? Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye. Aye.
Okay, motion passes. Okay, we'll move on to celebrations, Parent University.
So, Chairman, I just had to think for a minute. Chairman Thornton, and members of the board, tonight Anita Wilson is here. The board had asked us about doing parent universities along with the superintendent's advisory. And so we had our first, well, a second one actually, but Anita's first one for the 2 middle schools. Tim is at city council or whatever what it is, planning and zoning tonight. So Anita is here to share about how it went. Hi.
Thank you. Chairman Thornton, trustees, yes, it's great to address you guys tonight. This is the first time for me doing it, so it's, I'm glad to be able to present this. So last week we had our Parent University Middle School 101. Principal Tim Jensen and I ran that. It was held at the high school, and it was well attended. Allison was there. I'm not sure, I didn't count how many people, but it was full. Every table was filled with parents from both Fremont, Kuna Middle, and Synergy. So parents who were interested in Synergy. We had, I did bring the agenda if you would like a copy of that. Good one to you. Thank you. So these are the topics that we talked about.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And so we just kind of went over the basics of middle school, what to expect, the differences between elementary and middle school. We had, we spent about an hour reviewing that, and then we had at least 30 to 45 minutes after where parents stayed and asked us specifically some questions, and we were able to get back to them with some answers. So, you know, we kind of went over the differences in how CAST is different. We have AVID programs. We talked about parent involvement, and we did talk about athletics. So it was well received. We had a lot of questions about the dual language program and special education programs that we were able to answer. So overall, it was a great evening. It was really nice to see a lot of people. So I will stand for questions if you want to know any more information about the night.
I don't have any questions, but Mr. Jensen said that he liked doing it together.
It was great,
Is that
yes.
something that
Correct.
you also thought was great to
Yes.
combine the schools?
Yes, it was great because, you know, we have a lot of programs that are the same and schedules that are the same. However, there's some differences, a few slight differences between the schools, and it was really nice to be able to do it together. Yes, definitely.
Sounds like it went very well.
It was great. Yes, thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Is your shirt for your?
Oh, yes, I am
Share that?
wearing a t-shirt. I'm sorry, I'm wearing a t-shirt tonight and jeans, but this is a t-shirt celebrating our attendance secretary, Stacy Webster, has been diagnosed with cancer. And so today at school, we wore our Stacy Strong T-shirts. So it's Twin Day for Random Acts of Kindness Week. So everybody on the faculty and staff were twins. We're all twinning. So just to support her and her family. So.
Great, thank you.
Thanks, Anita.
Okay.
We have one more, Chairman, and we just got that in today. Allison's going to really quickly share a celebration, okay?
Mr. Chairman, trustees, a shout out to one of our bus drivers, Kendall Foster. Kendall, like many in her community, are concerned about kids in these dark times walking and going back home to school, not being able to be seen. And so she and I were looking for things that we could do to equip our kids so they could be better seen. And we encountered an AC, a highway district program called Glow Up. And we were able to go through them and get 350 battery-operated reflectors that kiddos can put on their bikes and perhaps attach to their scooters. And so we just got those today, and we'll be working to get those out to schools to get to kids who are walking, riding, scootering in the dark. So, celebration.
Thank you. All right, next up, our reports. We'll move the time over to Jonathan Gillen, our CFO.
Okay, so let's spend some time talking about budget. First off, thank you for moving me up a little bit. I have a couple board meetings tonight, so if you see me leave, it's not because I got tired of the conversation you were having. It's because I got 2 other meetings I'm going to jump on. But you guys are first and foremost, so I'm super excited. Don't tell the other 2 boards I said that.
Yeah, you're telling everyone.
And I know that's on video, so there we go. All right, so let's get started. We're going to talk about a couple things. I'm going to give you a budget update. I'm going to talk a little bit about financial projections, some information that I've ran, specifically on expenses. We still got a little bit more work to do with revenue, so tonight we're just going to talk about expenses. We're going to spend some time talking about fund balance. I'll give you a state funding update. It's not going to be very exciting, so don't get your hopes up. There's still a lot that needs to change there and a lot of things that are still outstanding, and then I'll have some time for questions. So first off, during last year's budget, you guys essentially approved a budget that was going to spend down fund balance by roughly $1.5 million. So that was the plan. It was part of the process that we were going to utilize our fund balance. We'll talk a little about cost drivers for some of that in a little bit. And so I'm just going to let you know, basically based on financial projections, we're going to be a little bit higher than that. So we still have fund balance to cover it. I don't want it to cause any panic. But just know based on the projections I've ran, you'll be around $2.1 million that we'll lose this year based on expenses. And then I'll talk in a second about what drives those and kind of what are the reasons why. But just keep that in mind. Essentially, I'm projecting roughly a 17% fund balance, which is still a good, healthy amount. And we're going to want to keep that fund balance. We keep fund balance for numerous reasons. I should stop for a second. Everybody knows what fund balance is, right? Essentially, that's the excess that we have available. It's essentially a savings account. It doesn't work quite exactly like that, but that's how we want to look at it. You can use it to offset one-time expenses. You can use it in the situation where maybe we have a budget cut and it happens mid-year, and so you don't want to be able to displace things for kids, and so essentially we'll eat into our savings account. So again, this is where I project the end of the year. What I'll tell you, it won't be exactly that number. It would be awesome if it was. That means I'm really good and I've planned everything out and every dollar and penny exactly the way it's going to happen. But again, that's kind of how we're projecting the year. So we'll be hovering around 17%. So why does fund balance go down, and why do we think about it going down this year? Largely, there's a couple of things. There were some changes right at the end of, towards the end of the session last year that talk about salary minimums. We captured a lot of that in the budget, so I don't want to make it sound like that's a big cost driver, but there was quite a few changes to R1, P1 and AP1. You don't need to know those terms, but essentially it required minimums in our salary schedules. And so for a lot of us, that was a lot of changes, and that was a little bit of change in code from even the previous year and how we should apply that. So that increased salary costs. Much of that was captured during the budget, but oftentimes, you don't know exactly where everybody's going to land, and so you're going to have some of that spill over. The big one is special education costs increase. And this is not specific to Kuna. This is really everywhere. You're seeing special education costs continue to go up. And so even a lot of times it'll be beyond even what you've budgeted and projected, because you don't know exactly what your student count is going to be and what those students' needs are going to be. And so just know that as we start to talk about budget this year, you're going to hear us talk a little about special education costs. You're going to hear us talk a little about how we're going to try to manage that and manage that risk. And then lastly, the budget increases we all received across the state didn't exactly cover all of our increases in operating costs. And so we're having to continue to kind of deal with the escalation of cost increases with reduced revenues to offset that. So why do we want to, what are some reductions in fund balance? What are potential impacts? Decreases in financial flexibility. That's pretty simple, right? It's just like your savings account at home. If that starts to get smaller, right, you have to worry about, oh, if I have a roof problem or I have a car problem. It's the same thing for a school district. As our fund balance continues to drop, it just reduces our flexibility a little bit. If we want to be nimble, if we need to make a change, if, oh, we really need to buy this piece of curriculum, it requires a little more discussion and process, which is why we want to try to maintain it as much as we can. It could impact bond ratings. I'll tell you it can. More fund balance for a bondholder is always better. What does it necessarily mean that going down $1.5 million is going to change your bond rating? No, it'll be a lot of evaluations that they'll do not only of the school district, but of school districts around, as Moody's does the valuations. But again, if you go out for bonds, the more fund balance you have, the more likely you are to have a better interest rate. And then lastly, largely what happens when you have state funding changes mid-year, we've already agreed to contracts. We already have students in classrooms. A lot of those expenses are already incurred. So it just means that, like, as your fund balance drops, if you have mid-year changes in funding, it's a lot harder to manage those. So again, those are some of the reasons why not only we would anticipate fund balance to go down as when situations like this occur, but then also we want to make sure that we can try to maintain as much as we can moving forward so that we can manage through some of those risks. So reduction plan. So you talked about, you saw the $2.1 million. The administration has come up with a plan essentially over 2 years to manage through what that's going to look like. So we're going to look to adjust the budget. So we're not going to adjust it tonight, right? But what we'll go through as part of the budget process is we're going to look to try to recoup around $1.1 million. And that's we're going to take a look at, essentially we'll look through staffing, we'll look through people who are retiring, attrition. That's not very different than what we would usually do. But again, we're going to try to identify open positions, and then we'll essentially try to recoup those dollars and save them in the budget. We'll also go through, I'm going to take a look at any materials and services spending, if there's any capital that we can delay, if there's any curriculum that we can get creative about managing, looking to help manage those costs to reach that $1.1 million. But again, essentially we're going to look to do this across 2 years to hopefully, again, limit the exposure and allow us time to maybe look at some ways we can generate additional revenues. So we'll look at attrition, again, review other cost areas to find savings. And how do we increase state funding, right? So that's the other side of it. We can essentially look at continuing to cut costs, or we can try to look at where we can increase revenues. 2 places where essentially you can increase revenues. I'll tell you, you really have control, arguably you have control over one of them, attendance. So enrollment, if we have more students that come in, that'll generate additional funding. We really don't have much control over that. We'll be at the nature of whether that happens. Where we can look at is essentially, are there ways where we can increase our attendance percentage? So we've been spending some time kind of walking through what that'll look like. Is there some attendance initiatives we can do? Is there things that we can do to try to increase that even 1/10 to 0.5 percentage point, just bringing in additional dollars for basically the operations we're already doing? And so those will be things that we'll look at to try to look at ways to try to increase our revenues. We'll continue to talk downtown. We'll continue to have discussions with legislators as well to try to ensure we can receive enough dollars to operate to effectively educate kids. Starting with 27-28, this is where I project that our fund balance could be as we roll into 27-28. So now I've transitioned a whole other year, right? So this is like, have you seen on ESPN, like right after the Super Bowl, they have way too early projections, right? That's my sports analysis. This is the same thing, way too early projections of how things are going to look 24 months from now. But just know, essentially, with that $1 million reduction that happened the second year, we'd be sitting around $7 million in fund balance. How we'll try to manage that budget as we roll into 27-28, we're gonna have some of the same conversations. We're gonna look at, are there additional costs? Did we have any attrition that happened during that budget process? And then essentially, is there additional revenues that we can recoup? Are there things that we can try to drive attendance up? Is there a new program that we can try to market so that we can try to bring in student enrollment? And what are we gonna be working on over the next couple months? We'll continue, I'll run another round of projections. I'll take a look at revenues for 25-26 and try to firm up those numbers. Then we'll start working on 26-27's budget. And I can tell you that's already started. We've been looking at expenses. We've been looking at identifying ways that we can find cost savings. And then we'll work on the 26-27 budget with a plan to give you a presentation probably in May for a work session. So that we can walk through all the revenues and expenses. And before then, I'll be kind of starting to dribble out information so that you won't have to take it in all at once. And state funding update, fiscal year 25-26, there was a rescission package that went down to the legislature. As of right now, K-12 is not in that package, so as of right now, we should be, as of today at least, not anticipating a cut for 25-26. As far as 26-27, more information to come. So that budget's still getting worked through the legislature, so there's still a lot of discussions. Unfortunately, I don't know much now. Hopefully by the next board meeting, I'll know a lot I can share with you about the budget. And then with that, I can answer any questions. That was a lot really fast, sorry. I drink a lot of caffeine. I probably should drink less, but you catch me at 6 o'clock, so.
I don't have any.
I don't have it.
Awesome.
What's our monthly expenditure right now?
Let's see, but you know what? I can get it for you rather than just trying to run it in my head. I'll pull one because I'll pull the budget, and then I can, yeah, and I'll send it to you guys.
I guess I did have a question. I noticed that it said reduction in Medicaid funds, but increases in special education expenses.
Yeah.
So is it additional reductions based on this year, or are we talking about last year still?
Essentially, our expenses for special education have continued to increase, and the Medicaid reimbursement as a percentage of that proportion has not maintained that.
Okay.
And so as costs continue to rise, there's this idea, right, that Medicaid will help kind of recoup that, and it's not a dollar for dollar. It never was, but really it's now not the dollar of expenses increasing at a faster rate than the dollar of revenues. And so now the gap becomes more, and so what happens in those areas is then the general fund has to kind of pick up that difference, unfortunately. Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a wonderful day.
All right, next up, we have Kuna Education Foundation, Mrs. Mary Stewart.
Good evening. Thank you, Chairman Thornton and trustees, for allowing me to speak with you for just a few minutes this evening. My name is Mary Stewart. I'm the current president of the Kuna Education Foundation. So I'm just going to share with you this evening a little bit of our foundation's history, the purpose of the foundation, what we're currently doing, our future goals, and how we can be supported. So we were, we're granted our official 501c3 on November 1st of 2010. But according to records, it didn't really get rolling until about 2013, 2014. And our founding members included Gabrielle Bybee, Jim Ford, Gail Jenkins, Randy Manker, and Courtney Shearer, as well as Jenny Greger, who is actually our current executive director. And then Kim Nixon is also still remaining on the board as a member. So we have a lot of relationship with our past board members, which is really very nice. The role of the foundation, the biggest one really, what we do for the district is provide supplemental funding source. It's really what education foundations are designed to do. They help create community partnership, as well as we really work to increase the public perception of education and the teachers in the district. So we are here to support teachers. We offer scholarship opportunities just to the students of Kuna School District, so that really reduces the competition for some of the scholarships that we offer, which is really great for our students. And then we are 100% volunteer run. There's no member of our board that is paid. We don't have any employees. So everything that comes in goes back out, which is a really nice thing to be able to say. So our current activities, we really do three main things. The first is our bridge grant. That's one grant that we grant to teachers in the district. Actually, excuse me. It used to be one grant for $25. The 24-25 school year was $25 to one teacher in the district. Through some really great fundraisers, including the basket fundraiser, which the board helped us with and donated a basket, we were able to increase that bridge grant to 3 teachers and $50 each every month. We also offer classroom grants for things like field trip expenses and supplemental things to curriculum. We just gave one to Ross for a program called Mission IO so that the kids can learn some really cool STEM things. They were very excited about learning leadership, and they told me that without teacher prompting, which was really kind of cool. And then again, student scholarships. So moving forward, one of the big things is we want to work to increase our donor base. Fundraisers are great, but they're not consistent, and we can't keep tapping the same people in our community. So we're really working to create some relationship with businesses and corporations who can provide us with more of a sponsorship, similar to some of the education foundations around, such as West Ada and Boise. We really need to grow our board of directors. For the past 15 years, there's been 5. And it's really on a very quick rotation. And so we'll be looking to community members, business leaders, and things, people of that nature to continue the passion that we've created in the past year. We would really like to implement some new funds and grants, including creating an endowed fund. One of our main goals is to create an endowed fund that would help cover past lunch balances. We've seen that as a big need for the elementary schools as well as middle school. And that would be something that would be really great to have that endowed fund to continue to pull from rather than continuing to ask the community to give and give and give. How can you support us? Like, follow, and share. It's the age of social media. The more people we have who are sharing our content, who like our posts and things like that. So thank you to the district for sharing our posts as we do them. Donations, of course, always welcome and accepted. And introductions. If you know somebody who is philanthropically minded, a good business leader who you think would be interested in partnering with us, we'd love to speak with them and see how we can work together. And then also sponsor. So businesses and individuals can sponsor scholarships as well as our monthly bridge grants. And so there's the possibility for relationship there as well. So with that, I'll say if you would like to connect with us, we have our Facebook QR code as well as our website. Website will lead to our donations page, excuse me. Any questions? Clear as mud? Great, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, next report we have is capital plan update. Assistant Superintendent Jason Reddy and Director Allison Westfall.
Chairman Thornton and trustees, we had Allison on there. She'd probably help from the audience tonight, but I had jury duty this week, and so I was 50-50 on I was going to get here or not. But so ended up on a jury till about 8 o'clock last night. Oh my gosh. Good times. Anyway, let's talk about the capital plan. Thank you so much for inviting me to come and give an update. I appreciate that. I'm excited to kind of share some of this information with you and the work that had been done last spring. So a quick overview. We met 4 times last spring and talked about a variety of topics and sought feedback from a lot of experts. And I do want to spend just a few minutes to walk through these things. Trustee Thornton and Trustee Bruce were in all of these meetings as well, so please feel free if I miss something important, please help if you want to. So first bullet, we looked at the previous capital plan that was on the ballot in 2023. Obviously, we know that didn't meet the supermajority. We met the simple majority, but it failed to meet that supermajority threshold for the state of Idaho. We looked at that plan because it was a good plan. There was a lot of stuff in there. It was a long-term plan connecting back to the 2017 bond that built that first phase of Swan Falls. That was always intended to be a 3-phase project, and so it was kind of like trying to connect all those pieces together. The next item up there is we spent some time talking about our enrollment capacity and what that means in a school and how it's different from like physical capacity of a building and those different items. We went to Kuna High School, walked around a few classrooms. We talked about how a welding classroom has a different capacity than a special ed classroom and how that's a different capacity from a gen ed classroom and how we do that analysis. The group had some really good feedback about that. Felt like it was helpful and informative because there really was kind of a lot of confusion about what is the capacity of Kuna High School, what is the capacity of our different buildings, and how do we measure that. So we spent some good time talking about that. Next, we talked about growth. Mike Borjig from the city of Kuna came and talked to us about, kind of what we could see now happening, what we should plan to see in the future. He talked about the fact that, it's easier to make good projections a few months from now as opposed to 24 months from now or well into the future. We also talked a lot about the Tischler-Bice study that we had commissioned several years ago, and if we met the mark that was established there and why we didn't meet that or how close we got to it. We talked about the financial picture. We had Michael Keith from Zion's Bank He does all of our financial advising and for bonds and levies, and frankly, I think he does it for pretty much everybody in the state of Idaho, all the school districts in the state of Idaho. He's very smart, a great expert to have in the room. So he presented to the group. We had a presentation from our architects, Ron and Amber from LKV. They're great partners of ours, very helpful. They showed us some different options we could consider with Swan Falls and the bottom floor, the top floor, adding the library, not adding the library. You know, there's lots of different options to consider. So they presented those to us, talked about elementaries, updates to middle schools, a lot of the things that were on that 2023 bond. And then we looked at the property that our school district owns around the city of Kuna. We talked about what each of those sites, what kind of school would be best fit on those, high school, middle school, elementary school, which ones are the most ready as far as, you know, all the utilities that would be needed, which are not. And then I'm going to spend a few minutes talking about the school choice impact and what that has, what kind of impact that has on enrollment in the coming slides. And we also talked about just some of those different bond options, whether it's big bond, small bond, pieces, parts, and just kind of, I like to affectionately call it like kind of the Lego approach. Like, how many different Legos can we put together to kind of put together a good plan for our community? So the first thing, and really the overarching question I want to try to answer for you is like, why did we pause the work that we were doing after we met those 4 times? Why did we pause? One of those reasons is really just the future is very uncertain for us as far as what enrollment is going to look like, and there's a variety of reasons for that. The first, obviously, you see up there is we are going to have charter schools coming online, kind of a lot of charter schools in the next couple of years. We know Valor is going to start next year. That's going to be K through 7 when they open. And my understanding is their plan is to add 1 grade level every year until they get to K-12. We don't know exactly how many kids. Frankly, we don't know exactly how many CUNA kids will be pulled from our district for each of these, because the way charter schools draw their boundaries is different than the way that our school district has boundaries. They can pull from lots of different areas, and frankly, a much bigger area. Elevate is for sure coming. That was approved by the Charter Commission. The link on there is to the news article that talks about that. You can drill in more if you want some more information. But that's traditionally a 6 through 12 CTE, kind of alternative CTE environment. You've seen they're in several places around the state: Caldwell, Nampa, Idaho Falls. And then we know that there's 2 more rumored to be in 2028, coming online in 2028. So that creates some decent uncertainty about what our enrollment's going to look like in those coming years. And then the private school choice bill, the House Bill 93 from the last legislative session. We don't really know what impact that's going to have on us. It's very difficult to make that prediction because there's not really any like accountability measures for, like, if a kid leaves and goes to a private school, there's no way for us to know for sure if it came from us, or the private schools don't have to report where the kid lives. So anybody, so it's difficult for us to be able to make predictions about that. And then we've seen statewide, right? Idaho's getting a bit older, and the demographics are changing a little bit, and so that's another thing that makes it difficult to predict what our enrollment will do. You can go to the next slide, please. Another reason we paused is we had some changes to leadership. We had our CFO, obviously, is new. In addition to that, Trustee Wheeler, this is his second meeting, and we felt like it was appropriate to have a new board member have a voice into what the capital plan future would look like for CUNA. And then obviously, new superintendent. You guys are working on hiring a new superintendent, and hopefully we'll know who that is by the end of this month. But making sure that that person has a voice into that plan also, we felt like it was important. Another thing to consider that I think is important to weigh in this equation, we currently have a supplemental levy on the books for $3.6 million. That levy expires in June 2027. And you'll remember, I'm sure, that levy included 43 teachers, some curriculum, some technology and textbooks. So that levy is going to need to be considered for renewal coming up pretty soon. So if we want to get, if you choose to have that on the November ballot, this board would need to make a decision in August of this year. If you have the option to extend that a little bit, which would be May of 2027 would be the next option, and you would need to make that decision in March in order to get it on the ballot. The last piece of this, and this we'll share a little bit more in the future, but we met with Michael Keith from Zions Bank a couple of weeks ago, and he shared that because we have paid down that $7.2 million in our bond debt, it's actually created a little bit of like room in our bond capacity that gives us some flexibility where we could potentially run a bigger levy or add a bond, and our taxpayers would not feel a rate change. The rate would stay the same, and we could actually increase some of the revenue for our school district. That's a short, quick summary. I'm not a financial expert, but we'll get Michael Keith in here to give some better and more detail to that. And the option, you as a board have an option to consider as far as what we want to do with that plan. So in summary, this is a quick summary. These things on the right kind of led us to this statement of, we know what we could be, we know what we could do. We know what the school sites we have. We have plans from LKV about how we could add on to Swan Falls. We could build another elementary in the same footprint that we have built the last several. But the question really came about what we should be building, not what we could build, and when we should do it. Like, should it be now? What should be first? What should go next? There were a lot of questions and a lot of different ideas or options. So many variables to consider. I know Trustee Thornton probably agrees with that too. And so this last piece, that kind of led us to that path of, LKV, Zions, some of our other experts said, man, you guys have so many options to consider. You really would want to, you should think about pulling your community, get some feedback from the community, and see what they think about what's their priority. Middle school, elementary school, finish Swan Falls, all the different possible variations. And so that's why we presented in September the potential of doing a community survey. But all of that to say, that's kind of why we just paused the work to give us some time. Can you go to the next slide? This is just a quick kind of timeline picture. You can take a snapshot of this in your brain. We shared this with the Superintendent Advisory Committee in September, I think. Allison, does that sound right? Just kind of we have a new superintendent starting July 1st. That would probably be their first actual date of work in Kuna. And then we like to talk as leaders in those positions about, like, what are you going to do in your first 100 days? And there's a lot to consider in those first 100 days for that new person. And then you'll see those two potential ballot measures with question marks on there about getting it, the board discussion, and then getting it on the ballot. So you can go to the next slide. So the big question is, what are our next steps? We would want to review that tax capacity. We'll have Michael Keith. He's always willing to come and talk to us and teach us, which we appreciate. So we'll get him scheduled to come out. And then we have the question of the levy renewal. And then, as always, in the fall, we're going to monitor enrollment really closely. I think trying to evaluate what impact Valor Charter School coming online will have. I think that would help us predict what adding more charter schools would do. So we'll be monitoring that very closely, and we can report back about our enrollment at that point. So I'll stand for any questions, comments, if there's something I can help give clarity to.
Do you know where I know where Valor is, but where's Elevate supposed to go? Do you know the location of that or the other two?
Yeah, I don't know exactly off the top of my head. Tim actually might be the best expert on that one. I know it's in one of the developments. They've allocated it for a charter school site. I just can't remember. It's
in
this site over here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. All three of those future ones are in Kuna.
Yes. I think, yeah. all 4.
Valor plus the other Elevate and then the 2, okay.
I think it's in the Gallica Heights.
Subdivision?
Is that south of Kuna? Like the south side?
Black Cat.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay, all right, Black Cat,
Oh, kind of by Black Cat.
towards Nampa.
I think one thing to consider too is with these charter schools, I mean, the first couple of years is sometimes shaky. And we've seen kids go there and then our enrollment starts and then they come in a couple months later where we see an influx of students.
Yeah, that's a good point.
There's Impact STEM is closing their doors right now too. So, I mean, it takes a while for them to get up and going before it's successful, in my opinion. So it's something to think about.
I believe we did share a slide about the number of charter schools that have opened in the last several years and the number that have closed to kind of validate your point in the capital planning team. So I appreciate that. Thank you.
And really, isn't there, really nothing says that someone could maybe take their student out of school or homeschool or a charter school or a private school, and if they don't like that option, even if they've received money from like the $5,000, they can still put their student back in our district, right? Is that true?
I think that's a question for the tax commission.
Yeah, I didn't know how that works, yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I think we take whoever, right? I mean, we're not turning people away, even if they've, so if they try out homeschool, it doesn't necessarily mean they won't be back.
Yeah.
I have one more question. There was a woman who came and presented about doing a community survey, I guess, or we have not moved forward with that, is that correct?
Nope. No, I was asked to pause on that work, so we did.
Was that the wants? So like, what does the community want? Is that the survey you're talking
Yeah,
about?
we were gonna-
Or is it something else?
I thought it was about like, you know, how many people per door, you know, how many kids per door, yeah, like refreshing
yeah,
our
statistics.
previous.
No, this one was a different type, kind of asking the community what they're looking for in a
Oh.
bond, kind of, rather than the actual survey, or the research that they did.
But did we kind of talk about doing some research to replace our old research?
We talked about
But we did not do that. Am I
Correct.
Yeah.
Yep. We worked, I mean, Mike Borzik honestly was very helpful in that, and he can tell us exactly how many doors are gonna come online in the next, 6 months. Get pretty good 12-month predictions. Out from further than that, he's a little bit like, hey, it could be a variation of this or that. I can share the slides with you. They were actually really helpful and informative. So yeah, we could pay to have the study updated if we wanted.
How much did that study cost last time? Does anyone know? It was fairly expensive.
Yeah.
It was, and
That's
that was
what I
only
remember.
phase 1. There was that phase, and then there was another one that was gonna
$5
get-
grand, $6 grand?
I think it was between $8,000 and $14,000.
Yeah.
It's frustrating. Spend that kind of
It
money.
seems kind of hard to predict, no
Yeah.
matter, with so many variables anyway.
Yeah.
I mean, our whole reasoning for having that information validated is so that we could, share that with the city. I don't know I don't think it helped that much. I could be wrong. It's nice to have, but.
It's helpful as a reference for sure, and it was, at the end of the day, it's a prediction, right? They're making a prediction. I think that number came back, we had a 0.6 kids per door. If I'm right, was that 0.6 and some change? It ended up actually over the time, from the time we got the study to basically when we were working on this capital plan, what we ended up with was about 0.5 kid per door. So it wasn't far off, but it wasn't exactly on the head either. Yeah. I think the survey, Trustee Wheeler, to answer your question, the survey was really to try to get some more feedback from the community and to get more people involved in the capital planning process, but to kind of figure out, what they really valued about, should we finish Swan Falls? Do you think we need another elementary? Should we update our current middle schools? There were a lot of pieces to consider, and the group got to a place where we were like, there's so many things that we could consider, we need some more voices.
is there any baseline that I mean, because there's so many things that we should consider. I mean, inevitably there's things that we have to do, right, regardless of the variables. Is there any way when we do those polls, just as a community member, I think it would be helpful if I got a survey like that explained, like, here's the things that we have to do anyways. Otherwise, it just feels like you fill in bubbles and, like, I don't know what that survey looked like or what it entailed, but it seems like if we do one, it'd be helpful to have like some foundation of like.
Here's the required, like, here's our needs, here's some of our wants.
Yeah, here's the things that we inevitably need to do, and here's some things that if we have extra. But I don't know if it sounds like it's so fluid as far as what we actually need to do, because we've got the vouchers and we've got charter schools coming in, and so like the question I think that, at least just based on your presentation, Jason, is it seems like it's up in the air of like what our needs are, and we're trying to solidify that before we really move forward.
I think you're just spot on, because it was like October, it was our former CFO, and we were talking about, I think we'd had the possibility of that phase one of that person doing some work, and him being an outsider to the district, you know, kind of looking into that balcony view was like, okay, what are the needs? Because if enrollment goes down, how do you go out for a bond for another school if you don't need that? Or is it just adding on a wing at some of the elementary schools? I mean, so we were like, we don't know. And we need more people to help us make that decision. So that was kind of the pause as well, because we were like, there's all these gambles out here of these new charter schools coming on, and we can't go out and say we absolutely have to build a new elementary school, and we don't really know that we need that.
Yeah.
But do we need a wing off of Crimson Point or something?
Or do we need to finish Swan Fall? Like, I think.
Or do we need to yeah. What does the community want? And we didn't have a good answer. Then we had a changeover in our. So anyway, that was kind of a big pause for us, because we were like, that's probably true, you know? We keep talking about one thing, but then these charter schools keep getting approved. We don't know how many kids are gonna take. But then you drive down 10 Mile and you see that new subdivision coming in. Is that gonna be families going to Silver Trail, Crimson Point, or are we gonna get some of that?
Sure.
You know? It was just kind of these ifs.
So we're going to let some of the dust settle. if it does settle.
Yeah, if it does, yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, move on to patron comment. Looks like we have it. All right, Danielle Hobbs. Before we get started, just a reminder, you have 3 minutes. If you could please state your name and address for the record, and we'll let you know when your 3 minutes are up.
Good evening, Chairman Thornton and the trustees. My name is Danny Hobbs. My address is 1017 East Tuckman here in Kuna. I am a 3rd grade teacher over at Hubbard Elementary. I'm a parent of a student over at Hubbard Elementary, and another student will be joining at Hubbard Elementary next year, so I'm very a part of the district, and I really love Hubbard, and in that I am a co-lead of our Sunshine Committee, which is just a committee that we have on campus to try and build and continue teacher morale, build our teacher community, but also we go out into our community as well, and so we do a lot of little projects to help within our community. But one of those things is last month was National School Board Appreciation Month. We know that Idaho celebrates it in June, but we're not really here. So we wanted to go out and make sure that we got all of the signatures from our staff, as well as some just well wishes and appreciation for you guys and all that you do, because Hubbard had a rough patch a couple years ago, and some of you were on the board, and we just really appreciate that you allowed us to stay open. I mean, my own family is just benefiting so much. My child is thriving there, so I just want to say thank you just on my personal level, but just also as a staff, we are so appreciative of you guys and everything we do, you guys do, because we know that this is not an easy job, and you don't often hear the positives. So we created a very small token of our appreciation for you guys, and I just wanted to give it to you guys personally rather than send it through the mail.
Thank you.
Thank you.
But we appreciate you guys so much, so that is all. Thank you.
All right, next up we have Andrew Abrams.
My name is Andrew Abrams. My address is 13304 West Silverbrook in Boise, Idaho. I'm here today representing the Treasure Valley Paramotor Pilots Association, and we have a number of members in the audience here today for support. Among them, of course, is numerous Kuna residents as well. We're here today because it has become known that there's some concern with us using the field next door. I wanted to come here today to just to establish that we're qualified, caring adults, qualified pilots who take care of our community, and we really do care for the sport that we participate in and the communities that we impact when we do this. We are a group of adults who found our way into aviation through lots of different ways. Some of us are private pilots, airplane pilots, we're engineers, business owners. We're all basically successful adults. Probably our average age is about 45. Have all of you seen us flying around? You're very familiar with what we do. Excellent. So I won't go into the explanation of the sport and such, but you know that there's two different types of flying. There's the people who launch 5 foot, and then there are the folks who use the wheels, the carts. This field next to us here is really, really special. We've been using it off and on, probably myself personally, for about 6 years. I know folks have been using it for longer, and there's a lot of newer pilots among us who have really been using it a lot recently. This field is special because it gives us access to the open spaces near Kuna. Kuna is special because it has all the open spaces around us. And this field is grass, it's beautiful, it's flat, there's really no wires or obstructions, and so it's perfect for our use. I know that your main concern is the dangerous nature of what we do and potential liability for the site. We do understand that, and all of us as pilots constantly, we do take full responsibility for ourselves and all of the activities that we do. I can speak for all of us here for probably thousands and thousands of hours. There's never been a major accident among any of us here or in our group. Finally, I'd like to offer some compromises or some options that perhaps might help you feel better about allowing us to use that. There are instances where waivers have been signed. We could have one signed for all of our pilots. We can follow any guidelines that you might set for access and use of the school. We would obviously avoid any operations at school or any sports activities get first priority. And we thought maybe we could perhaps limit the number of pilots that might use the site at any one time to limit any impact to our local community.
Yeah, your time is up.
Okay, thank you for your time. I really appreciate you hearing us today.
Thank you.
Thank you. I do have a little handout. Would it be okay if I pass them around?
Thank you.
Yes, you're welcome. Oh, there you are.
Thank you.
For your time. Appreciate you. Thank you. Yes, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
All right. Okay, we will move on to unfinished business, discussion and interaction. First up is the update on the Kuna virtual program by Assistant Superintendent Jason Reddy and Principal Reno.
Mr. Reddy said he talked too much, so he wanted me to do it all. Chairman Thornton, trustees, thank you for having me up here today. CAVE, Kuna Access to Virtual Education, this is a pilot that we've created to give access and choice for our families in the Kuna School District. We've recognized that, and you'll see why. Currently, we have 57 students signed up for it. 7 of them are students that left our school to online and came back for our online. We have 7 students that were planning on leaving at semester, but because we had this opportunity, they are staying at Kuna High as our enrollment. Like Jonathan said, we need enrollment to generate that revenue. We have 4 content teachers that we've used based off our staffing model, so no additional expenses. This was built into the Kuna High staffing model at the beginning of the year, with the intent of using it for online. It's just, I have some flexibility with staffing that can move around, especially for periods. We're using a program called Edgenuity. It's an online program. The curriculum's all there. The lessons, everything are there for teachers. So basically the teacher is just giving feedback and grading assignments. It's really self-paced and monitored that way. How are students doing? Well, we're about 2.5 weeks in. Everyone's logged in. Everyone's doing assignments. Yes, there are some that are behind, some that are ahead, just like in any class, but there is progress going there. And then our long-term goals is to see how this goes this semester, and then to use it maybe as summer school and in the future for others. Next slide. So why do we start this? Why do we even dabble into this? Well, as you know, if you follow the legislature, the IDLA is in the news a lot, and it might not, who knows, because they currently have a 40% cut that they have to do, and we use a lot of IDLA classes. We have over 1,400 courses, sections that we do with IDLA. Edgenuity can ultimately fulfill that, so we wouldn't have to rely on IDLA for a lot of courses. There's other, in the SIC, about half of them have online programs. Nampa, West Ada, Boise, and, there's one more, Emmett, I think. Yeah, that's it. No, I think that's it, but yeah. That was Jason's homework. Yeah, we're not the trailblazer, but we're not the last ones on this bandwagon. So this just creates more opportunities, and we're losing students to online. We really are. If you can see our 3-year trend, in 2022, 23, we lost 61 kids to online school, 77 the next year, 90 last year, and so far this year, 90. So as you can see, this is increasing. I do a 4-year. This could be a freshman, sophomore, junior. If we had this enrollment, it would really increase the revenue. So that's our goal, is to get all these kids back in that were once with us. Any questions?
You answered my question.
So, like, for funding, we don't get funding for students enrolled in IDLA, but we do for this program that we have here. Is that correct?
Correct. We have to pay IDLA for those classes.
Right, yeah.
So we have to pay for those classes. So this is us not paying for those and doing it in-house. Any other questions? We're hoping to give you an update at the end of in June or July about how it went, the future plans. So that's our goal.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, next up, we have an update on the sale of the 4th Street gym. Brian?
We tried to just give it all to you guys.
Hillary, I thought you were gonna do it.
Yeah, I'm happy to.
Yeah.
Okay, I didn't know if somebody else had something.
I have, you guys have a map, but this is up there as well, because that's one of the things, unless you've walked it a bunch, when I say storage, when I say upstairs, downstairs, like where is that? So it's labeled up here as well, but I'm gonna let you
Okay.
talk as much as you
I'm
want.
gonna sit here unless somebody wants to.
No, yeah.
All right. Okay, we met with, I think Friday afternoon, we met with the mayor and his staff for the second time, and just to kind of talk about, they did a little more research about what they needed to know to move forward, and they were able to give us kind of some of their thoughts, and what they would like from us is to have a vote tonight to see if we're still on board to continue moving forward. And I'll give you kind of what they asked for. And I guess, can you tell us, Brian, which of these things, like, we have asked them to maintain some use of these particular areas. So which ones, it's everything except for this 2 places that say storage, is that right?
Yeah, for us, we said that Right now, any of our rentals, any of our reservations for the gym, we're about 90-10. So right now, our facilities coordinator person is the rec center person for the city. 90% of what we plan for there has nothing to do with the school district. So we said for the gymnasium part, we just said, could we have preferential, if we have a huge wrestling tournament that's like blocking both our junior high, our middle schools and high school, and we gave enough notice, would you make sure our basketball team got to practice there first? Downstairs, we said that would be, so basically the gym's the city's, the downstairs is the city, upstairs is a joke. It really, I mean, it's not a joke. There really is an upstairs. I would never go up there, and I wouldn't go up there with.
It seems like no one's gonna be using that.
No, it's very old.
It says penthouse, but.
It does say penthouse on the map that they have.
Yeah.
And then the 3 areas listed storage, we said that we could be completely out of them. Cam's got to do one thing. Otherwise, those areas we said that we don't need, use anymore, shared use. Just the areas marked technology.
Okay, perfect. So just technology and then preferential use of the gym. I think we have kind of a few things that are on our schedule that have been on for years, maybe like something for Indian Creek.
Yeah, sometimes Indian Creek uses it as their auditorium.
Yeah. So anyway, they think that sounds great, and they're happy to do that. They would like to charge us $1,500 a month in rent for those areas, which they said they did kind of like the standard of what it would cost to rent that in the market now, and it would be $14,000, which is steep, especially for the quality of the space rented. But they said even if we cut that in half, we knew that you wouldn't be able to probably afford that, and so they felt that $1,500 a month would be a reasonable amount, considering that we spend just a little bit less than that in the utility bill. And so we're already kind of budgeted for that amount. But then they would be paying the utility bill, correct me if I'm wrong, but we would pay them $1,500 a month in rent.
Yeah, it would be like a pass-through.
So it's pretty much a wash as far as the cost to us.
What is the utility bill exactly a month?
They did the math, and
it's
it's
about
average is about 14.
$14.75 or something like that.
Jeez.
They did their homework.
Yeah. And so I think that's where they came up with the amount, which I felt was generous. They would like us to continue to pay for any maintenance or for the space that we're utilizing. So any maintenance or repairs that we need to make would come from we would handle that, and we would cover the cost of those things. They also proposed that we each use our own attorneys rather than engaging a real estate agent, which I also felt was a good idea, and that we would each cover our own expenses for that as part of the deal. Our appraised value for the building was 1.7 something, and their offer was at 1.8 million, and they proposed that they will pay us the appraised value of the building, and that any difference between that amount, which I don't have, it's 1.7 something, I don't remember exactly what it was.
Yeah, I think you're almost, I think it was I hate saying this, 1.7, so I guess backwards. I thought it was like 1.78 or 1.76.
Okay,
It's not
so anyway, the difference between that and 1.8 would then be, would go to cover the closing costs for the deal. And then any additional amount of closing costs that wasn't covered by that amount, the city would cover that amount. That's their proposal. They would like I said, to see that our board is all on board with continuing forward before they dedicate more staff time to the project and incur those costs. They have a suggested timeline for us that we can rent these technology spaces for 2 years. And they would like us to only have 1 year for which space was that, Brian? It's called Bus Shop on here.
Yeah. They would like us out of this
Yeah.
area sooner.
So they said 1 year for that, and 2 years for everything else. was their proposal. I think we maybe need a little more, personally feel like maybe we need a little more time than that, since.
It's negotiable.
Yeah, yeah, I think it is. I mean, this is their proposal to us, and then we can negotiate, we can say now, I guess, and have a discussion based on what we'd like to see, and then we'll go back to them with that.
Does the city know that like 90% of this is used by not our school district?
Yeah, that was one of the requests they made was to, so I shared that with them the first visit, after the first visit, that was one of my homework, is we had to give them like all of our rentals and use of it.
And so they would plan to handle the scheduling of that from now on, for anyone that's not the school district, and even for the school district, but we would just have some preferential treatment for utilizing it.
Well, and if they buy it, they should maintain it.
Yeah, I think that they would maintain all of their areas, they just don't want to maintain the areas we're renting while we're there.
Cover their rear, like if we're renting it and we damage it, we probably should pay for that.
So I guess if we decided to go with the 2 years, where are we gonna put these people?
I think that's the question, that, like, even if we were to build another place or anything, I don't see how we could possibly get it done in 2 years. Do you feel like?
2 years, and then, but we looked at, that was it last time, we looked at a proposal for a building, and that was double what we're even getting for this building.
Right.
So how do we, I guess where are we at on that?
Yeah, so we met back with LKV and gave them kind of the parameters of and we went even further. We said, hey, this needs to be, draw something for about 1.5, just because I feel like whenever you include architects and construction people, they're still gonna go over that. So we had to go, it's like giving my wife a budget. I go lower than it's supposed to be. They're gonna spend it. So, but we have that. We can share that with you guys.
You're in trouble at home.
But I feel like there's kind of a lot of work to do on that first. So personally, I would like to go maybe back to them with a little bit longer timeline. I mean, I kind of wanted to propose, I've started with 10 years, but hearing there 2, I was thinking maybe we could compromise that a little more, like 5 years. But
What's in that big technology room? What, if you were out in that in a year?
It's our warehouse. It's where we've got a lot of stuff in there that he.
Would you like, yeah.
is it all the little plastic bins that are labeled and?
I've got plastic bins, I have backup computers, I've got pallets, or vans currently in there. All of it's our storage for most of the big items of the district, backups for TVs, backups for stuff like that, so.
And they want it back to use it, is that the?
Yeah.
And I mean, I walked with Mr. Graves and Mr. Reddy, that like around plenty of areas, and I think like they're already cleaning out quite a bit of what we've got there in order to free up some space. All those storage areas, the 3 storage areas, right? And so, I mean, I think we can maybe still be creative with a few areas, but I think that's just that these kinds of things are gonna take time to make the decisions, and I just don't know if we can do 1 year or 2 years personally. I don't know, how do you both feel about that? Like, do you kind of think the same way, or?
I do. I think if you give us kind of that 3 to 4 years, we would have a plan. I think we could show you what LKV had for us. It's going to include a big piece of it. Will include middle school, that kind of 41. If you're a Kuna High graduate, it used to be the ag shop. And it has also a penthouse.
Not at Kuna High, at Kuna Middle School.
Well, if you graduated from Kuna High, when it was Kuna
yeah,
Middle School.
yeah.
But it was their ag shop. And that area we use for a class, and it does get used for storage a lot. So I think it has 2 big garage doors, warehouse-wise, ample. And so we can have that ready to present next month as far as here's our plan to replace this space. It doesn't replace the gym.
Did you have an idea? Did they give us an idea what that would cost? Right?
We asked them to be around 1.5. They will never give us a number, but they do all the drawings and then we go to bid. It's just hopefully to be lower.
just doesn't make sense to me to sell the gym for 1.5 and then just we're replacing it with 1.5, or I mean, we're still losing that space. I don't know. Just doesn't. I mean, I definitely want to wait on this, or come back with like like what Trustee Lowe said, a 5-year plan to rent it. But I don't know.
Well, with the budget and what he just talked about, we definitely need at least a year or two to figure out finances and what that looks like, and if this is even worth the financial aspect of it.
I just wonder if there's some, I mean, we've talked about a lot of options without even building something, which would be really my preference. I don't know if it's possible, but I feel like, you know, there's some really creative ways to maybe utilize some space. Or build something very cost effective as far as, but I mean, I'm not saying I know exactly that we can make that work, but I don't really like to see us sell the gym either, JD, that just for a 1-to-1 replacement. But it would be nice if we could sell the gym and further some of our other capital improvements. But, so.
Are we under some time crunch to get it sold? I mean, is there?
The city doesn't seem to be in a giant hurry, at least the mayor.
We asked.
Because it seems like, go ahead. What's that?
Well, because the appraisal, the bids for the appraisal. So that kind of was one of our deadlines. We also asked our attorney if there was, as long as, she basically said, as long as we're negotiating and discussing, then there's no, I mean, obviously it probably couldn't be a 3-year negotiation, but maybe it could. I just don't think this happens very often. We only had the one responsive, we had the highest responsive bid, and we only had one that was responsive, so.
Yeah. Because go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
It seems like, I mean, unless we've got a solid plan that's not gonna just basically trade what we have for something else that's what we have, maybe we don't rush the sale until we have a game plan of how we're gonna adjust it, and if it actually makes literal sense, or if we're just doing it because it would be cool to have a new building. Because that would be awesome, but if we're just trading one for the other and we're adding stress to having, I mean, construction projects are a pain in the butt.
Well,
I don't know if you can say that on.
Then we're losing space. Then we're losing space.
Trustee Lowe, would you argue that it felt like their staff was in a way bigger hurry than Mayor Steer? Mayor Steer was very calm, and he said we could take his.
Yeah, I guess I would propose that maybe I'd be willing to work with maybe you guys on trying to come up with like an ABC kind of option plan that we could use, like maybe LKV's building and their projected cost for that, but then also some more creative ways to utilize space that doesn't include a building, if we could even make that work. So I feel like maybe it would be good to do some of that research before like moving forward on the sale.
I would agree with that.
Well, that's why we haven't moved forward.
Yeah, so this is just, so I kind of think maybe we would possibly go back to them and say we need a little more time before we can make a vote to move forward. We need more information.
Did you say like your A being more than like what?
Like where would we put all of these places if we could not build a building? We want all of the $1.7 million to go to some other capital plan. Yeah, our budget deficit.
That we just had, yeah, the one we just had.
1.1 per year for 2 years.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I mean, I guess we probably need to see what the plans could be. Where will we put these before we can tell the city that we're willing to get out in 5 years? Maybe we're not. Maybe we can't. So.
Another question, and this would be hard to answer, but like our utilities for this place are almost $1,500 a month. And if we went to the middle school, I mean, how much do we anticipate that will increase our utilities at the middle school? Is it?
Unknown.
Right?
Just be the addition of the offices that we talked about.
If we added.
If we added.
It would be a little bit more probably. I'm assuming there's maybe some heat and cooling that you would need.
Sorry, heating and cooling would probably not be as bad going there. It's an old, empty warehouse. I mean,
I was actually pretty surprised that that's as little
Yeah.
of the utilities that it costs that. I mean, there's like open air underneath. Like, I can't believe that it even holds any heat with, like, you can see this much of a gap underneath the doors, so, to the outside, so. Okay, so maybe I could just make a proposal. I mean, should I make a motion? Or do we need one?
It doesn't say action.
Well, we amended it.
We amended
to action. But we don't have to take action. We could just.
I just don't know if we need it, or if we just say, like, let's put this on next month's
put it on,
agenda
table
with
it.
some more
Table it till next
information.
month and do the research.
Okay,
Be okay.
okay.
Do you want to see that would LKV prepared for us that was kind of in that 1.5 just to get a picture of? Okay. Right on.
And so we'll just put this on the agenda for next month, and in the meantime, we can talk about additional plans, and then we can get back to the city and say we're working on the timeline.
I think the easiest thing is we can wait for LKV to come up with their process too. That will help us with our decision as well.
We don't need another meeting with the city at this point, though,
I
correct?
don't think so.
Okay.
So I think it's an update.
Clear up your Friday for you.
Thank you.
We can do it Friday afternoon.
Really?
Our 3 o'clock Friday meetings?
Yeah.
Darn it.
I vote we don't schedule those again. Okay.
All right, very good. Thank you, everybody. All right, next is an update on the superintendent's search. Potential action item. We do have one thing, one of the people that we asked or put on our staff committee cannot make it for that day, Kimberly Parker, is that right?
She gonna be gone? Oh, I was.
She's gonna be gone. Yeah, no, you're good. So we do need to pick somebody else to replace her on that. And then I was hoping we could have a discussion about the community, kind of talk about some people we would like to be as well, or how we want to do so. So that's what I had for that.
I had a little bit of a hard time hearing, I'm sorry.
Sorry.
No,
I'm
it was
speaking
just
loudly
noisy over
and-
here, so, yeah.
So I just wanted to, we need to replace Kimberly Barker
Yeah.
on that committee. She's not gonna be there. And then I wanted to talk about the community one, kind of what, if there were some people we had in mind that we wanted to put on there, or and how we wanted to do that forum.
Didn't she had a community member?
She
that
did.
His name is Justin.
It's Justin White. Yeah, okay,
Okay.
yes, Justin
Okay.
was a teacher for me at Skyview. He was a
But
music
let's take care of the staff forum first, if we could.
So I think maybe another elementary school principal.
That's what I was thinking.
So Andrea Randall.
Andrea Randall would be good. Michelle Tripp would be
Michelle
good.
Tripp.
Added.
Would any of them be interested?
Michelle Tripp would be a good one
She would be a
because
good
she
one.
is very, you got the avid stuff, but she's on the cabinet as well as a strategic kind of partner with us. So her and Kimberly tag team that, so I think she'd probably be really good. Yeah. And she lives in the community. And
I would agree with that one.
I make a motion that we assign Mrs. Tripp to that committee.
I second.
Any discussion?
Can we go ahead with a backup in case she can't be there?
Yeah.
Like, should we put another person on the list just so that we don't?
Put on Andrea Randall, because Andrea Randall lives in the community too.
Yeah.
So like, if Mrs. Tripp can't make it, then Mrs. Randall can
We
do
just,
it.
could we just make a motion to have Andrea Randall as the
Alternate.
alternate? Let's vote on the first motion. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion passes, and then, if you want me to get you
Make a motion that we ask Principal Randall to be backup for any of the admin positions when they can't, if they couldn't make it.
Second.
Okay, any further discussion? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
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 Okay. Thank you. The next thing was to talk about the community forum. I think we want to do kind of the same 4 or 5 people on the forum to kind of ask the questions.
What about somebody from the capital planning committee that's been, you know, is that, I don't know, would that be good?
Well, and then also, who's the gentleman that he's always involved, he was on the policy committee? His wife, yes.
He's on the superintendent's advisory council too.
He might be a good one to have.
Who's this?
Elliot.
His name's Elliot Tolbert.
Yes.
Pretty very and knowledgeable, and he lives in the community.
The person that you were talking about, Justin White, Justin's kids go to Crimson Point. So he does have kids, but he's a administrator at
Meridian High.
Yes. Very
But
nice.
he lives in Kuna.
Yes, he does.
I feel like everyone should.
Has to be a part of it.
At least in the school.
Yeah, within the district.
Yeah.
We're paragliding in Kuna.
No.
How many is that?
Be somebody from the capital planning committee.
I could look at the list.
Elliot was on that, right?
Oh, I think he was on the policy.
He was on policy.
He was on the policy committee.
I
But
thought
he's
there was-
just kind of everywhere.
Are you wanting these folks to help ask the questions of the candidates? Or
Aren't we gonna
how?
Forum.
Are they gonna come up with the questions? Are we giving them the questions that they are gonna ask?
Aren't they getting the
I understood it to be that we were gonna have like 4 or 5 community members that came together and came up with their own questions, so that when we had the community all here, we didn't have 40 people trying to ask a question, but to try to get a good pool of members of the community that could ask a typical question that the community cares about. That's how I interpreted
Yeah,
it.
that's what I was thinking.
Okay.
But I've been wrong.
So they would
often.
need to meet ahead of this
Spot on.
meeting.
Yeah.
Okay.
Anybody
Yeah.
else?
Yeah, like, you know, you can. No, we don't use micros. Meetings.
Someone from the ag community.
Any women that come to mind?
What's her name?
Mary came to a lot of the capital planning
Mary did.
meetings, and
What about Carrie Larson?
That's what I was thinking.
She's at a ton of meetings.
I do know. Yeah. I took me a second.
Oh, and she attends the Kuna Education Foundation meetings. I don't know. I don't really know.
She's on the superintendent's advisory as well.
Oh, okay.
She's barely an employee, if that matters.
Oh, yeah, she is.
Yeah.
She works.
Is she an employee?
She's part-time.
So maybe we don't have, if we can just avoid any employees, so it's not I don't know.
I don't know if it matters, especially with her.
What's her job?
Building aid at one of our elementaries.
Are there any volunteers in our schools that you know of that might, maybe at the high school or in the middle school?
5, I think.
What is that?
They have advisory committees also, I
I just
don't
need to start making.
It's super easy for
Yeah, I think
for club presidents to FAT. We can get you guys some
maybe
names.
we can go from there.
Yeah.
On it.
he's pretty good.
Mr. Reno's gotta know some parent, like your booster club presidents, your,
Michael.
he's,
If you want to go, please.
Yeah.
I moved to nominate Elliot Tolbert, or nominate, sorry guys, I'm new here. To have Elliot Tolbert on the committee, on the community forum.
Community Forum Committee.
I'll get it right next time.
Second.
Thank you.
Should we just say all of them, or do we need to do
I think we
individually?
gotta vote
We gotta do
individually.
each one.
I still think it's okay to put Carrie Larson on there as a community member.
Well, let's vote on this and then maybe, then make a motion if you want.
We have a second.
Yeah, we got a second. All in favor?
Aye.
I
Motion carries.
I make a motion that we have Carrie Larson on the community committee.
Second.
Any further discussion?
No.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Motion carries.
For Justin.
Do yours,
Yes.
Kirsty?
Make a motion to place Justin on the community committee.
Justin White.
Justin White.
Second.
Okay, any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
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 Motion carries.
I make a motion that we ask Neil Durant if he'll be on that community committee.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed?
Nay.
We have 4.
Did you vote? I didn't hear you.
Oh, sorry, I was thinking aye.
Aye, okay. 4-1, motion carries.
I feel, I would like to make a motion that Hillary Woodland be on the community person. What is it called?
I don't know why it's so hard.
Committee, the community forum committee.
What's the limit? Are we doing 5 or 6?
We
I
picked
think
5, but we could.
Oh, did we already do 5?
No, that was.
Oh,
We
I
already
feel like
have-
another female would be nice.
I was thinking.
And I feel like she's got a lot of
Guys.
kids, and she's been I don't know if she has recently, but been previously pretty involved.
I agree with that.
Motion, I have a second. Did you second that, Kirsty?
Yes.
Okay. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Should we do?
Do we want to talk about some alternates in case people have?
Yeah, we do.
I think we should.
Anna Paz was really involved in the levy and, you know, is on the, she's not on the, is she on the education? Preschool, she's on the preschool. Do we want to ask her if she's available or interested?
Should be good.
What did you say? Who did you say again?
Anna Paz.
I'll make a motion that Anna Paz be placed on the committee as an alternate if someone else is not available or declines.
Second.
Any further discussion?
No.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
You know,
Motion carries.
another, if you want to know, oh, did you have any?
I was gonna say, like Anna and Enrique.
That's her.
That's her.
Oh, okay. I didn't recognize the last name because they go by different last names.
There's
Got it.
another guy that's on the superintendent, his name is Brian Resnick, and he's been involved for years on about redistricting, and he's very involved. He's got kid at high school, right? And Mary, you know him, Mary, he's a good guy. I mean, he's a good guy, but he's been involved in the district for a long time, and he's not employed. He's been on the capital plan, he's been on superintendent's advisory, he's been on when we redistrict back when we had the Linder split, and so he likes to be, I mean, he's a good guy, but I think I've said that 5 times, but you probably don't, he works for St. Louis, I think.
Is he at the capital plan?
Yeah.
Yeah, he came to most of them. I think he missed 1 or 2.
Yeah, big guy,
Oh,
yeah,
yep.
yeah.
All right.
Just an idea, maybe you guys have a.
Do we want to have another alternate?
Well, that would be 2, right?
What about,
Or that
what
would be
about
2.
Toby
Yeah.
Halverson?
Make it, do it for a backup.
But he doesn't have any, he's in the community for sure, but he's not a parent anymore, right? Because all their kids are, which is crazy. That means I'm old too, because I'm older than him.
I make a motion that we have Toby Halverson on the committee as well.
As an alternate?
Yeah.
Second.
Is he the one that yelled at me in here?
Toby?
I don't think he ever yelled.
Okay.
Oh, I don't know. Oh.
Did you guys have a discussion?
I
about
think
who
he was
on
combative as a person in this, so I would,
Do you not want to keep it just parents?
like, isn't he a parent?
It's a,
No.
it's a committee member, so, or, I mean,
Yeah.
a community member.
Okay, we do have a motion and a second.
Well, because Kim also gave a parent who would be a really good one.
Who's that, Kim?
That was, Brian Resnick is his name. he was on the capital plan, but he's been involved in, he's a parent, I mean.
Yeah.
I would prefer him, honest.
I
to be
think so
honest.
too. So nay
we
to
do
Toby.
need to vote.
We do need to vote.
I'm fine to rescind my second. So we can talk.
Great.
So Toby's a no.
I'll make a motion that Brian Resnick be placed on the committee as a alternate.
Can we vote on the Toby Everson?
You have to say no to Toby.
Oh, I thought he rescinded the second.
No, we,
Oh,
No, sorry.
it's a
yeah,
no.
we need to vote.
Oh, okay.
All in favor?
No.
Aye.
No.
No.
Okay. Motion fails. Okay, go ahead, Hillary.
I'll make a motion that Brian Resnick be placed as an alternate on the committee.
A second.
Okay. Yeah, he's been very involved. I think he's on the superintendent advisory as well. Okay, any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, motion carries. All right, I think we are good to go.
So do you want us to contact them and meet with them, and maybe like Michael or one of you two just, could come and meet with us, but we could gather them together, have a meeting and tell them kind of the plan and make sure they're all okay. But I think we'd include the alternates just to make sure, that if someone had to back
It
out.
would be good to have them
Yeah.
involved from the beginning so that if something changes there.
Yeah.
Or if someone says no, we can
Right.
have someone else step in.
Okay, we'll work on getting that group together and then having them understand.
Same with the other
Yeah.
committee too.
The other committee. And we have the commons, that Leanne's got that all reserved for the 24th for the staff meeting and then the community one. So that's all taken care of.
And I saw the schedule.
Yeah.
It looked like a good long day.
Just make a lunch. Yeah. Okay, well, we'll work on that then.
Okay, thank you. All right, moving on to business discussion and/or action items. First one up is the consider RFQ for insurance services, assistant superintendent.
Yeah, I'll stand, but that's literally,
That's it.
that's it. Just, that way we can go out and get a quote, see if we can get the best deal for you guys.
RFQ.
Request for quote.
I make a motion that we, do I need to say consider, that we go out for RFQ for insurance services?
Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Staff insurance.
Yeah, medical.
And
Very good.
dental.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Okay, the next item
Medical.
for discussion is policy 262. This is just something I thought would be helpful for us in future board meetings to kind of have a script for leadership elections. So what's been added to the policy, or what's changed in the policy is just the red. That we had Jill work on putting in here, and it's just kind of a script for how to make our elections flow better, work better. So like a new board member knows what's going on in the meeting, because that's kind of a lot to throw at somebody at their first meeting.
Additionally, I think it just puts us all on the same page about how we're going to, and this is in keeping with what, Robert's rules would be.
So if there's anything we would like to modify, I watched West Ada's, and then I looked at Nampa's, and they both do it a little bit different, even from this. So this is kind of the standard, or a pretty well standard operating way to do it. So if there's anything that you feel you would like to change or do differently, you can have that discussion. Or you can
How do they do their nominations when they do president and vice president?
So West Ada, they actually turn, for the chair, they turn it over to the clerk to have the floor, and then somebody nominates. They don't require a second. The one that I watched, there was only one person that was nominated, and then they all voted for him, which a lot of times that's typical.
Okay.
And then Nampa was pretty similar to kind of what we did. It was somewhat of a nomination of the second, and then they voted on it that way. And then I think the chair ran it from the beginning, if I remember correctly.
So this new policy, the way, sorry, did I cut you off?
Go for it.
The way we have it, we don't need a second anymore, right?
We don't
Is that
have
how I'm reading
to,
that,
but
is
we
you
can do that if we would like. I think it says nominations do not
page
require a
one.
second unless the board has
Two is that, yeah.
a rule requiring one.
I'd like to have that, just so it's in order. Otherwise, you're just gonna have like 3 names out there, and then, I don't know.
Yeah, that,
I guess if you have 3 names out there and then your vote, like, how are you gonna vote in order? You just vote in order.
Just
of the
whoever's
names
nominated first, and
nominated.
if they get the majority
Then
of the
it's-
votes,
then it's done?
then it's done.
And it's done,
But then if they don't, then you move to the next person that was nominated.
which I think it is more, there's a clearer understanding of
That's how
who's
I
up there.
understand it to be done.
and so could you, so you would go down the list and vote either yay or nay on all,
For
like,
each
say,
individual?
for each individual?
Yeah,
Or
you-
do you vote, like, everyone just says a name?
One person says a name and.
The chair or the presiding officer will say the name that was nominated first, and then you vote. If they get the majority of the votes,
Then you
then
do
it's
the other
done.
one.
Yeah.
Oh, so it's not just like,
At least that's how I understand, is that.
The only difference would be you just don't need a second. I mean, it would be the same way that we've been doing it for, I mean, I've been
No.
on the board for 12 years.
I think this is a change to that, isn't it? Because the change would be that everyone would have the opportunity to, you'd open nominations, right? And then everyone would say, like, you know, this person would be nominated, another person would be nominated, and you could have 1 or you could have 5. And then you would know who you were voting on prior to the vote. And the way we've previously done it is someone's nominated, we vote on it, but we don't know who else would have been nominated. And that's what's spelled out in this red.
Yeah, that's why we don't have a second. So you keep having nominations and then vote on the first one.
And I think
That
you
makes
could
sense.
add a second to that and still have the same
I think the
procedure.
result would still be the same.
Yeah,
Right? Except if you were nominating yourself and nobody else seconded, then you, I guess that would be the only, the only thing that changes.
I think we should say that we don't need a second for clarity.
No second required.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
I
like,
think it says it in.
Two.
Yeah, it says nominations. do
I don't
not
think
require a
having,
second.
I don't think having a second in that is,
it doesn't seem
I don't think it's
necessary.
that.
I think we'll be okay. And then, yeah, you have to close the nominations and then you vote.
That's the key that for me is helpful, just knowing that you, how it's like staged.
You open it and close it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I just, not in the red, but when I was reading through this, I just saw a typo and not in the red, but I don't know if you want me to bring that up right now.
Yeah, let's get it
Okay.
done, because do we need to do it for
Okay.
first reading?
Yeah, we'll bring it, like, whatever corrections that you guys
First
want,
reading
we'll bring it
then.
back for a second.
Okay.
Would you say that would be first or second?
I think we could do it for second.
Second, I,
It is under public participation, wherever that is. Oh, here, right here. The 4th line under public participation,
you're like super fast.
the manner in which the public comment and requests for agenda items will govern is included in the rules, so I don't know. Yeah,
Just need to be.
yep, just needs a B.
So I need a motion to approve the first reading.
I'll make a motion that we approve the first reading with the updated change for the typo.
A second.
Okay, any further
And there were no other changes to the red, right? So it's coming back and I'll,
I think we're all good with what
Fix the B.
that is, yeah.
do you want it to be a standalone second read, or then it could go to consent and we'll fix the B? Or do you want it
Why don't you put it second?
as a standalone, so then you guys can discuss again if you got any other feedback? Okay.
Just make sure
perfect.
it's the way they want it.
That's fine.
No other policy next
No
time.
further discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries.
Congratulations.
All right. Assistant Superintendent Graves, you're up.
Remember, these are Q4 from 2025. And we don't have yet Q1, so I will not have first reads next month. Sorry. There are 6 policies up for amendment, so I stay up for any questions.
I have one on 500. Like, in there, it talks about how the policy, or that the, all student handbooks are approved policy of the board. And like, those are changed pretty regularly, right? So,
We have we correct them. She's my policy. She's not policy helper, but she's handbook. The handbooks do get updated throughout the year as well, correct?
Only if there's something
It changes in policy that has to
really
change.
significant. Because we're trying to follow along with what you're doing in policy. But we know that your changes supersede whatever's in the handbook. So we'll go through in May and go through all the policy changes you've made through the year and update the handbook. But generally speaking, the main district handbook doesn't change throughout the year unless it's just something really, a link to a form, something like that. That's what we've been.
so it doesn't technically seem like that they really are. I feel like maybe they should be like they are based on the policy of the board. Because I've never read one, except for the ones my kids went to school with. I read those cover to cover.
Nice save.
So you want to change that? Is
Yes,
that
I would
is that what
like
I'm
to.
hearing you say? Okay.
You want to change that sentence to say,
That student handbooks are based on approved policy of the board.
I'll write it down.
So do I need to make a motion?
we can, do we have any questions on anything else on those others amended
No.
ones?
I make a motion that we approve the first reading of the following policies with that change to the student handbook policy. So, policy 500, 549, 814, 832, 834, 857.5.
And okay, I guess if I can put this in the discussion, but I had something for 549 as well.
Okay. If I get a second, then we can go into discussion.
I'll second.
It's just a very small change that there's a typo in the third line that says that community is spelled wrong, I believe.
Community.
That wasn't me. Sure. I know when they're
But that was all.
Okay.
549.
Prove it with that change.
I have a motion to approve the first reading of to amend the following policies. And a second, no further discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Make a motion that we remove the following policy 296.
Second.
Any further discussion?
No.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries.
I make a motion that we adopt the following policy of 556, 559, and 818 and 1012.1.
Okay.
Second.
Any discussion on those policies?
Yes, I have 1012.1. I feel like the lines need to be longer and make them further apart for people to fill out.
Just a bigger form.
Yeah.
Make it a larger.
I can do that.
She'll fix that for me when it becomes done too. My copy paste is bad too.
Otherwise, I have no concerns.
Any further discussion? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. I make a motion that we approve the consent agenda.
Second.
Okay,
I did have a question, I intended to ask before, but where, for number 9, the KHS bumper plates, where is that funding coming from? 'Cause it didn't note that in the information.
There's two.
I had the same question.
what's the
Is the
weights?
district paying for it, or is there other funds?
It's weights.
It is weights.
I'm guessing because it's from Mr. Bravo.
The hope is that it'll be refunded from the diode money. This was part of what he was gonna purchase with diode money. It's coming out of the waterfall interest earned. Because we can't use any of the house bill money for athletics.
No. So any of your modernization funds, the investment income you'll get off of that, it's an allowable usage.
So, I'm sorry, I didn't hear what that was.
So off the waterfall money that we had from the,
Modernization funded,
thank you.
so.
And then hopefully to be reimbursed by the diode. money.
Grant or.
Grant or whatever.
Yeah, this was part of the athletic, the
Athletic ask.
Athletic part.
We waited until they started cracking and then they said they can't use it.
Okay. All right, I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. All right, we'll move to good of the order. We have Day on the Hill, February 16th through the 17th. Next Monday and Tuesday. Great opportunity to meet with our legislature, our representatives. Kirsty can have lunch with her husband.
We'll still have lunch with the legislator anyway. It's posted.
Is that all the budget?
Okay. Next board meeting, March 10th, 2026. And I don't have anything else unless anybody does.
I motion that we adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Meeting adjourned.
Yeah, you official.
I tried.
You've been waiting all meeting for you to use that gavel.
Well, I might use it for something else.
With Freddie or
Just
something.
I know.